galactic George. So I made it about George Takei because I originally was a Star Trek fan, and then later, ended up learning about him as a closeted actor when he came out in 2005 and started talking about that, and really became a LGBT civil rights activist, and then was also found out from reading his autobiography, was imprisoned in a Japanese American internment camp. And I just really couldn't believe that, well, all these things had happened, but that Mr. Sulu had been imprisoned by the United States government. I was just shocked by that. So really wanted to connect the dots, reached out to his agent at the time, and fortunately his agent was a fan of my previous film. He came from Kuchar, and set up a meeting between me and George and Brad, and Brad is George's husband, of course. So just very intrigued by this unique man who faced so many obstacles and continues to be relentlessly positive and age gracefully in the media.
I think relentlessly positive is the word that actually you come away with. And part of the credit, of course, goes to you, Jennifer, for capturing him on camera. But part of the credit also goes to Bill as the editor. I was looking at the transitions and everything. They're so fantastic, especially the one where you cut, where he's talking about when he was in the internment camp, and he's in different locations. It's not, he's sometimes in a school, sometimes. That was fantastic. So tell us, Bill, when did you get involved with the film?
I came in on about the last year of the whole process. Jennifer had been interviewing and following George for about 3 years, and then she brought me on board to put these multitude of stories together. And it took a while, but it was nice to be working on something that was so relentlessly positive for a while.
How much material did you have to leave on the editing table to make this 90-minute odd film?
I think our first cut was 3 hours, pretty much, and it was 3 hours of stuff that was pretty tightly cut. So there's a lot of stuff on the floor. Although it's funny how these old film terms still come into play, because nothing's on the floor. It's in some in some ether world.
No, it's in the cloud.
Right, yeah, it's in the cloud. It's in the cloud. It's in the clouds. Yeah.
Technology, you have to catch up with that.
Yeah. No, it's good.
So, Jennifer, you do a really good job of taking us behind the scenes and showing George in his various moods, and like you said, relentlessly positive. Was he relentlessly positive when he was not on camera too?
Yeah, that's how George is. 90% of the time he's like that, and maybe 5% of the time he's napping, and maybe 5% of the time he's mad at Brad or something. But so I think it pretty much, it's just who he is. And I think also being imprisoned in the internment camp and really not taking things for granted, as a result, makes him that way. And we were talking earlier, Bill was talking about his father, and how George has really followed in his father's footsteps of trying to just have a really great attitude, and when things go wrong, you act reasonably to find solutions, and so he just does that.
Interestingly, you're a filmmaker who teaches here in San Francisco, but you also teach in Stanford. You don't teach at Stanford?
No, I did something else there, but yeah.
Okay, so we will. Interestingly, you are a teacher that teaches at a film school here.
Yeah.
How long have you been teaching?
It's been about 4 years, and I teach documentary production at the San Francisco Art Institute.
If someone wanted to make a documentary today, there's so much available, in terms of technology and camera and everything. Yes, you're pointing to our camera person. So I'm wondering, in like less than a minute, both you and Bill, if you could share, what are the things they must keep in mind when they're doing a documentary? If a young person is out there thinking of doing a documentary, what should they be doing? What is the must-haves they should do?
Well, first, before you even think about your technology, just don't do it unless you're completely obsessed, because there's just no point. It's too hard. I mean, if you want to work in the film industry, maybe you don't have to be obsessed, and you can, get a job doing some various part of a documentary. But if you're going to be paving through some documentary, you have to be obsessed with that subject. And then, don't shoot it with your phone. I would say, get higher end equipment. There's sort of a mythology, part of Searching for Sugar Man was shot that way, but it's part of the story. You couldn't, it's worked into the story. So, and not everybody can do that. So, try to get the best equipment that you can. You want higher end equipment to do it, and always very good sound.
Yes, sound.
I think Jennifer's first comment, especially if you are the filmmaker, you have to be a bit crazy and obsessed with the story. And first and foremost, you have to have a good story. Jennifer had the good instincts of following George starting 4 years ago, before he became quite the celebrity that he is now. He had no social media back then, and now he's huge. So I mean, you good instincts and a good story, and something you really care about, something you really feel like the world needs to know about more, and it has to be driving you in a very big way. And then also surround yourself with documentary filmmaking is very collaborative. And we had a great team. Working with Jennifer was great. And we had a great composer and a great graphic artist, and and a good color corrector and an unbelievable audio mixer. And so you surround yourself with a good team.
Title To Be Take. Who came up with that?
Actually, Brad Takei came up with that, and I think it was a way of including Brad. We know going into the film it's about George Takei, and then we find out, we get to meet his husband Brad Takei, so it is very inclusive that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Brad wanted to call it To Be Brad Takei.
Okay, so that was like 7 minutes.
You said it.